In 1914, a man named Ernest Shackleton set out to cross Antarctica on foot. His ship got crushed by ice. His crew was stranded for 2 years in one of the most hostile environments on Earth, and somehow every single person survived. What made them keep going when everything said stop? What makes anyone keep going? Today we're going to break down the psychology of persistence, the science behind people who just don't quit. And maybe, just maybe, we'll figure out how you can become one of them. Let's start with a question. Why do some people bounce back from failure while others crumble? In 1988, psychologist Carol Dweck discovered something that changed everything we know about motivation. She gave children a series of puzzles. Easy ones at first, then impossibly hard ones. She wanted to see how they'd react to failure. Here's where it gets interesting. Some kids said, "I love a challenge." They leaned in. They tried harder. They actually seemed to enjoy failing. Others shut down completely. They said they were bored. Some even lied about their scores. Dweck called this the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and it's the foundation of everything that follows. People with a fixed mindset believe talent is something you're born with. You either have it or you don't. For them, failure isn't just a setback, it's a verdict. It means they're not good enough. But people with a growth mindset, they see failure differently. It's information. It's feedback. It's a teacher. Now here's the kicker. Your mindset isn't fixed. Your mindset about mindsets can change. And that's the whole point. Let's go deeper. In 1965, psychologist Martin Seligman accidentally discovered something dark about the human mind. He was studying conditioning in dogs. Some dogs received mild shocks they could escape by jumping over a barrier. Others received shocks they couldn't escape, no matter what they did. Later, both groups were put in a new situation where escape was possible. The first group jumped immediately, but the second group, they didn't even try. They'd learned that their actions didn't matter, so they stopped acting. Seligman called this learned helplessness. And it doesn't just apply to dogs. When humans face repeated failures with no apparent path forward, something similar happens. We internalize the belief that trying is pointless. But here's what nobody tells you. Seligman spent the rest of his career proving it could be unlearned. He became the founder of positive psychology. He discovered that the same way helplessness is learned, optimism can be learned too. So how do you actually do it? How do you train your brain to keep going when everything screams stop? Pay attention to this. There's a concept called the explanatory style. It's how you explain bad events to yourself. Pessimists explain failure as permanent, pervasive, and personal. I failed because I'm a failure. Everything I do fails. And it's all my fault. But optimists flip the script. I failed this time, at this thing, due to circumstances I can address. This isn't delusion. It's strategic reframing, and decades of research prove it works. But wait, there's more. Because mindset alone isn't enough. You need fuel. In 1977, psychologist Albert Bandura introduced a concept called self-efficacy. It's not just believing things will work out, it's believing you have what it takes to make them work out. There's a crucial difference. Optimism says things will work out. Self-efficacy says I will work things out. Bandura found that self-efficacy comes from 4 sources: master experiences, social modeling, verbal persuasion, and emotional states. The most powerful one? Mastery experiences. Small wins that prove to yourself you can do hard things. This is why every productivity guru tells you to make your bed. It's not about the bed. It's about starting the day with proof that your actions have results. And then there's grit. In 2007, Psychologist Angela Duckworth started studying why some people achieve their long-term goals while others abandon them. She studied West Point cadets, National Spelling Bee contestants, rookie teachers in tough schools, and salespeople at their first jobs. The question wasn't who was talented. The question was who would still be there in a year. She found that IQ didn't predict success. Talent didn't predict success. Family income didn't predict success. What predicted who would still be standing? Grit. The combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Pay attention to both parts of that definition. It's not just persistence. Stubborn persistence without passion leads to burnout. And it's not just passion. Passion without perseverance is just enthusiasm that fades. Grit is what happens when you combine a deep sense of purpose with the willingness to struggle for years. To achieve it, here's what makes this so powerful. Grit can be developed. It's not a fixed trait you either have or don't. Duckworth identified 4 psychological assets that gritty people share: interest, practice, purpose, and hope. Interest means you're genuinely curious about what you're doing. Practice means deliberate effort to improve. Purpose means your work matters beyond yourself. And hope means you believe tomorrow can be better. Now I want you to notice something important. Everything we've covered, growth mindset, learned optimism, self-efficacy, and grit, they all reinforce each other. A growth mindset makes you more likely to see failure as feedback. Seeing failure as feedback builds self-efficacy. Self-efficacy fuels grit. And grit leads to mastery experiences that reinforce your growth mindset. It's a virtuous cycle. Each element makes the other stronger. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You can know all of this intellectually and still quit. Knowing isn't doing. So let me leave you with one final piece of research. One that might actually change your behavior, not just your beliefs. In 1999, researchers Gallwitzer and Brandstetter discovered something called implementation intentions. Most people set goals like, I want to exercise more. Implementation intentions are different. They specify when, where, and how. On Monday and Wednesday at 6 a.m., I will run 2 miles around the park near my house. The research showed the simple change increased follow-through rates by over 90% in some studies. Why? Because when you specify the trigger conditions, your brain automates the behavior. You don't have to decide. The decision is already made. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just watch this and feel motivated. Motivation fades. Instead, create one implementation intention right now. Pick something you've been putting off. Define exactly when you'll do it, where you'll do it, what the first action will be. Because here's what all the research ultimately tells us. The people who keep trying aren't special. They're strategic. They've learned to interpret failure differently. They've built self-efficacy through small wins. They've cultivated grit through purpose and practice, and they've turned intentions into automated behaviors. Remember Shackleton? His crew survived because he understood something profound. Persistence isn't about never feeling like quitting. It's about what you do when you feel like quitting. He kept everyone alive by managing their psychology as carefully as their provisions. He assigned tasks, he maintained routines, he gave people a reason to believe tomorrow was worth seeing. The psychology of people who keep trying isn't a mystery anymore. It's a practice. And like any practice, it starts with the decision to begin. So, what's your first step going to be?